Hey guys, what's up? Got something exciting to share with you today. Something fun, something new, something different. A band I like recently released a new album. The band is called The Format. Their album is called Boycott Heaven. And they did something you don't see a lot nowadays. They released their album on multiple types of physical media. You know, most new albums come out on vinyl still, which is kind of cool. A lot, of course, are coming out on CD still, as they have since the 80s. Some even throw out tape cassettes, but I think it's a little rare that you see a band release their album on all those formats at the same time. With the really, really big hits, you know, you are seeing these cassettes, CDs, and vinyl albums come out. But this is my first time getting a brand new released album here in 2026 on all three types of physical media. And in addition to that, I thought it'd be fun to put the album on a fourth physical media. So we've actually got the album here on vinyl, tape cassette, CD, and I moved it over to minidisc. So we're going to play them. I'm going to compare and contrast what sounds different about it. I think this is a great opportunity when the one album has been released all at the same time on all these formats, so we can really compare and see what the best is for this album. First of all, we're going to take a close-up look at each of them, what the differences are, what kind of physical media they are specifically, and then I'll take a listen on my stereo setup here and let you know which one I think is the best. Okay, we got the album out here on all four formats. Again, this is Boycott Heaven by The Format. Just came out here in 2026, January of 2026. Again, we've got the vinyl record, CD, tape cassette, and mini disc. All I've done to these is remove the plastic outer layer so it'd be easier to go through them here. Otherwise, they have not been touched or opened or pulled out or anything. Why don't we go ahead and start with the vinyl record. And if you pre-ordered this, you got a signed version of some artwork that came with the vinyl, which is kind of cool, same size. And it's separate from the cover itself, from the book fold, which is really cool because then I guess you could frame this if you wanted, and put it up without having to frame the actual album. So it's great that that's a separate piece. We've got a bifold here, so it does open up, and I love when they put one big long piece of artwork when you open it up. That's beautiful. Let's take a look here. Seems to be the band in a recording studio. The back side, we got track listing, nice and big, very easy to read from across the room, wherever you are, like that. Let's pull the record itself out. Again, some cool pictures. Album credits, great. Now I got the, I think it's called the bubblegum variant, which was exclusive to pre-orders or early orders or something. Very pretty. Kind of got a neat texture here going on. I'm not sure how much you can see that. It's pretty subtle, almost like a marble texture. I guess they're going for bubblegum, but yeah. Side A, side B. Nice clean label. It's heavy, but I don't think it's 180 grams. It doesn't feel as heavy as the heaviest vinyl, the heaviest records I've had. Not that to say it feels cheap. I wonder if it says anywhere. I don't think so. But it's still nice. Obviously clean. I don't see any obvious scratches or dirt on it, so that's great. I believe it's stereo. If I remember correct, the price wasn't that bad, which might be why, it's not as thick as vinyl as you sometimes see, but it was very affordable, is what I'll say. Especially for a pre-order where they sometimes gouge you. Great, so that's the vinyl record. Awesome. Okay, let's take a look at the CD. So the CD came in a plastic wrap, which I removed, but also had this kind of little sleeve, but not a full-size sleeve on the end here that pulls off. And the bummer is I don't really know how to keep that now that I have it unwrapped. I guess you're supposed to throw it away, but it's it's meant just for scanning and stuff and store purposes. But it's cool. I'd like to keep it. The jewel case itself is definitely a smaller jewel case than what you'd be used to from like CDs in the 90s and the 2000s, and even like a standard jewel case. It's thin. And I think the company Hello Merch, who put this together, They're kind of big on reusable or low materials or like recycling, sustainability, that sort of thing. So if that's the case, I get it. Same artwork on the front. No back artwork. Instead, they have the CD placed in the holder reversed. And then the CD itself has the track listing on them and is the same color as the back of the vinyl artwork. Interesting. So there's not a reverse cover on the back, which is odd and kind of a bummer. Because then when you open the CD case itself, the CD is silver, right? You don't see anything. Like, you'd think you'd want to put it in this way, but then you see the CD. And I guess, again, save on materials and stuff, which is good for the planet. So I'm not complaining there, but it's just something different. Inner back side of the front cover, pretty typical. A little smaller, like I said, since it's not a full-size jewel case. And I think if you have this stacked up against a bunch of other CDs, it is thinner. So it's not going to be as easy to read the text, read the album on it. But otherwise, it's a CD, What do you expect? Okay. It doesn't say, now that I think about it, I'm looking, doesn't say anything like CD text or CD-ROM features. So I'm guessing it doesn't have CD text, which is would have been cool, but you just never see that. This is very standard CD stuff. Okay, the cassette tape. Again, packaging here, different. It's not a plastic, cassette jewel case that you'd be used to with like a J card and everything. It's just a cardboard sleeve. So, when you stand it up next to your other cassettes, it's going to look a little different. It's not going to be quite as big. And you got to take better care of this cardboard sleeve. I am a little bummed about this. I'm like, if you're going to keep this tape for a long time, the cardboard's going to get roughed up. There's just no way around it. And obviously, it's really easy to find cassette tape cases, and I could put this in there. But then the case that came with it isn't going to fit in that case. So you can't just transfer the tape. So that's kind of sad. I'll have to try to just do my best to keep the tape in good condition. If we take the tape itself out, it's interesting, they went with green. It's the only thing so far I've seen that's green. The record wasn't green, none of the artwork was green, but they went with green for the tape. Printed right on the tape, so not a sticker label, which is good. Side A, side B. It looks like it has all the same songs. Cool that it came with this, tape holder to keep it from unraveling. I don't know if you see that all the time with new releases. Even people who are putting new releases on tape, I feel like I haven't seen that every single time. So I guess that's a nice little perk. Looks like it looks like it's Type 1, so standard tape. Makes sense. You don't see anyone making new Type 2 or Type 4 or metal tapes. I don't see any sort of noise reduction logo anywhere on the packaging or on the tape itself, so definitely not Dolby noise reduction or some sort of fake noise reduction. Again, that's probably not a big deal. New cassette decks don't come with it, so if you're playing this in a new machine, you wouldn't care about that anyway. And brand new tapes are made, all digitally, high quality, straight to tape from a master, digitally, so not as important. I mean, if you listen to this thing a bunch, you'll eventually get noise, but it's probably not a huge deal, at least on the first few listens. And really, the people buying this are probably buying it to put as like a collector's item. So the guys like me who are actually listening to it are few and far between. Okay, let's look at the mini disc. This is, like I said, something I made from the digital files, though, from the high quality digital files, FLAC WAV files, and then only compressed with to A-track to go on the mini disc, so they play in a mini disc player. So this wasn't recorded analog into a mini disc player. I used NetMD to transfer the full quality files, so only compressed once. So it has full text, album text, title text, artist, all that stuff. I threw it on a pink mini disc. I thought that kind of fit with the the rest of the artwork, kind of a pink or pale white or pale cream color, with the album on the front. Threw it into the mini disc sleeve, and on the back I matched that orange look of the vinyl, just to kind of give it the. When I make mini disc custom mini discs. I like them to look as much like the vinyl option or the CD, I guess, as possible, and less like the tape. I think it turned out really nice. With the pink case there and the art and everything. Yeah. So that's the 4 physical mediums for this album. Let's go take a listen and see which one we like best. Okay, we're back. I just got done listening to 3 songs, the first 3 songs on the album, on all 4 types of physical media. I did vinyl first, then I did tape cassette, CD, and then mini disc. What you should know is I've got a pretty decent setup here. In every case, I listened using the same receiver and using the built-in DAC in cases of where the DAC was needed. So for the mini disc and the CD, I had it export over optical cable straight to the receiver, so it would be the same DAC. Of course, the record player goes to the phono stage, and the tape cassette is using analog, of course, for the analog. So I tried to give them one-to-one comparison, all at the same speakers, all at the same audio level. What you should know about my setup, I gave it the best possible circumstances I could. So this is a direct drive record player by Technics. This is also a direct drive cassette deck that's recently been retimed, re-lubed, re-cleaned. New wheels within the past year. I run test cassettes through it once in a while just to make sure there's as little wow and flutter as possible. It's way down there. I think it's like 0.02% for wow and flutter, so really, really good. The turntable has an adjustment, so before playing it, I made sure it was as close to 33 to 30 RPM as possible. The mini disc player works well, and of course CD. I was mainly using the CD player as a transport to go into the receiver. And lastly, for the mini disc, what I did is I ripped the files off of the CD as FLAC, full quality audio files, FLAC and WAVE, and then I used Web Mini Disc Pro to move them over to the mini disc as standard play. So the highest quality that mini disc can basically do. I didn't do long play, I didn't do anything else. I don't have access to high MD, but really I think those are pretty rare, so I mean, this is about as good as you would have gotten, especially if you would have bought mini disc back in the day, like a pre-recorded album. So what did I think? Well, they all sounded great. First of all, for example, I'm listening between even the CD and the tape cassette, which you might think of as like best case scenario to worst case scenario. There wasn't a huge mega difference. And the reason for that is probably obvious. They're using one digital master recording to put it onto all of these tapes, all these physical formats. And they're all brand new, so they should sound good. The tape's not going to have a bunch of static or pops or whatever on it because it's brand new. So even though it's Type 1, even though it doesn't have Dolby noise reduction, on a good deck with a good setup and good speakers, which I have, on a brand new tape, it sounds fine. Did it sound the best? No. If I had to pick my favorite, I would definitely go with the CD. And I guess that's not really a surprise. It gave me the highest quality. I was able to pump up the volume as high as I wanted without any really distortion whatsoever, no changes. Even on mini disc, again, digital, even though it's compressed with 8-track, it's still very, very good. This is pop music for the most part, so, not a ton of sustain to worry about. And then between the vinyl and the tape cassette, I might edge it to the tape over the vinyl a little bit. The vinyl did sound good, it's high quality, but you're never going to escape like 100%, no static whatsoever, no pops or anything, even on a brand new record, cleaned stylus, everything like that. So while it sounded really nice and it sounded like a record, if you're going for the most crisp, highest quality, I think you're still going to be looking at CD. And then if you want it to sound as original as possible without any influence by the medium after that, probably tape cassette until it starts getting worn down anyway. After that, for quality, vinyl or mini disc is somewhere in there in line with CD as well. If you love the act of physicality, putting something on something or in something, my favorite was still the experience with vinyl. They have a really high quality piece of artwork here. The album is wonderful. The record itself is thick, really nice, so I enjoyed putting it on. using it, handling it was all wonderful. Easy to read lyrics and tracks and everything on it. So from a physicality standpoint, the record is my favorite. From a pure sound experience, gotta give it to CD. Okay, let me know what you guys are listening to, what physical mediums you guys are playing out, and while you're listening to them on Love Talking Hi-Fi.